Of the session, Dr. Kiran Kumar and Dr. Priya Sridharan. Dr. Kiran Kumar. I would also like to welcome speakers of this session, Dr. Gopal Das, Dr. Akshata, and Dr. Jyotsna Jain. I also would like to welcome Dr. Agyapal. Agyapal. Dr. Kiran Kumar is currently professor and head in Department of Psychiatry in Vedahi Institute of Medical Sciences and Research Center. He's a gold medalist. He has received Katil Appu Pai Award from RGUHS. He's a founding member of Minds United Trust for Humanity and Health Sciences. Currently, he is associate editor of Indian Journal of Psychological Medicine and Journal of Psychiatry Spectrum. He's a recognized UG and PG teacher from RGUHS, and he has multiple national and international publications. His areas of interest are UG and PG education, suicide, and depression. Dr. Priya Sridharan is a professor in Department of Psychiatry at St. John's Medical College Hospital. She is a corresponding author for paper shortlisted for Bombay Psychiatric Society. Her areas of interest are common mental disorders, psychiatry teaching and medical education, suicide prevention and intervention. I request Dr. Kiran Kumar to introduce.
I will introduce.
I request Dr. Priya ma'am to introduce the speakers.
So, my first speaker is Dr. Gopal Das. He already made a wonderful presentation on online methods. So he's a professor of psychiatry at Dr. Dayanand Sagar Institute of Medical Education, and he has been awarded with a scholarship under ITOPS, under the ITOPS STEPS program in psychiatry teaching. And a lot of his work is in terms of working with adolescents, how to teach, and he's had multiple publications. My next is Dr. Akshata. She's a senior resident in the Department of Psychiatry at JSS, and she has completed a research work in insulin resistance in antipsychotic naive, first episode, which has gotten published in IJP. Dr. Jyotsna Jain is the third delegate today here. She's an AP in the Department of Psychiatry in Bhopal Memorial Hospital and Research Center, Madhya Pradesh. She has participated in the conduct of workshops focusing on FGDs and QPR training on suicide prevention in UGs and PGs, and has gotten multiple awards, including the Meritorious Student Award, Distinction in Pathology, and she was one of the awardees of the ITOP STEPS grant. Her areas of interest are child and adolescent mental health, geriatric and rehabilitation psychiatry, women mental health and psychotherapy. Over to you. And I think we finally have Dr. Agyapal. Yeah, I think you heard he did an excellent presentation yesterday. Yes, Dr. Agyapal is an assistant professor at AIMS Kalyani. I think his paper on the INI survey in the academic psychiatry was cited quite a bit. I now hand over to Dr. Kiran.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, one and all, again. Probably you've been hearing a lot about steps from yesterday. A lot of people here and all my panelists are STEPS scholarship awardees. Now that's what we are talking about today in this panel discussion on something called enrichment activities. What I'll try to do is I'll just try to introduce STEPS and then ask all our scholarship awardees on what was their experience, and then Dr. Akshata will also have a small presentation on her experience. So scholarship for teachers teaching psychiatry, enrichment in psychiatry training skills, that's the acronym for STEPS. When we started ITOPS in 2016, we always felt that there should be some enrichment activities for early career psychiatrists. Because at the end of 3 years of post-graduation, the kind of skills they have to face real-life scenarios, particularly in teaching as a career, was quite difficult in various domains. So way back on the auspicious day of World Mental Health Day 2020, October 10th, we started the STEPS program as a scholarship program. This was funded by Infosys Foundation, and it was part of ITOPS and the Minds United Trust. Till date, we have about 16 such awardees who have come out, and an interesting thing is it has both synchronous and asynchronous way of enriching programs, and it is probably tailor-made to each individual. At the end of the program, they also get a certification, a memento, and rupees 10,000 as a cash award from the ITOPS and Infosys Foundation and Minds United Trust. So this is something broad about the program per se. In this context, probably we have few questions for our STEP scholarship awardees over the years. One of the earliest among them was Dr. Gopal Das, I think. He was the first batch. So Dr. Gopal, a few questions to you. In this era where there are a lot number of postgraduates coming up, I think about 1,000, 1,500 postgraduates are coming out of our institutes every year, quite a substantial number. And the kind of resources we have for sudden increase, yesterday somebody was telling that we have doubled this number. Do you think that such enrichment activities are important or needed in our country as of today?
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Dr. Kiran. Yeah, we all, the very early sessions yesterday were discussing about how prepared our postgraduates are. We take them through a lot in academics, and research is probably naturally taught nowadays, where the teaching is not. Once they are out of college, they are assumed to have that roles. They are supposed to be teachers. How is it really possible when we don't teach them how to teach? How are we expecting them to teach psychiatry in the first place, and they don't know? So this is where it becomes very important. When I realized this, maybe in my early career, when I started teaching and the engagement was not really that good, so we thought of how can we make it better. So to answer sir's question, definitely postgraduates right now with their curriculum, they are not really prepared for teaching. Once they come out of it, they are all they are bothered is clinical exposure and research. The teaching aspects take the back seat. Only people who are motivated and endowed in their natural skills, they might end up teaching a little better. It is not regarding only clinical bedside thing. It is a holistic way, considering all the other teaching methodologies and whatever. This is what I feel, sir. They need some kind of programs like this.
Any other panelist who would like to add on to it? Jyotsna, I think.
Yeah, I would add on to my experience. I was lucky in a way when I got introduced to this scholarship program through my mentor, Dr. Snehal Gupta, who was also awarded this program, this scholarship. And I could see his teaching learning methods changing, and that is how it created curiosity in me to pursue. And then I got selected also. So I think this gives us a structure. So our approach changes, where you start focusing on your approach from specific learning objectives to TL methods to assessment to integrating feedback. And I think that is something, this impact on teaching style is very useful when you start designing classes, or even the content of the curriculum when you decide on it. All of this is quite helpful. So I mean, it is really essential for the early career psychiatrists to know this structure, and then probably they can adapt to their unique teaching styles, and they can incorporate all of that with the help of this structure.
Thank you.
My question is to Dr. Argan. I really would request the others also to elaborate. So when you look at programs like STEPS, and when you even look at this conference that's been going on, a lot of the focus, the emphasis is on our role as a teacher. How do we teach? How do we make people learn? How do we assess it? But is there an expansion of this role further? The conference is primarily focusing on improving and enhancing our teacher skills. But do you feel that is there a role of expansion? Have teachers, psychiatry teachers' roles expanded beyond the basic teaching and the clinical care?
Hello. Thank you, ma'am, for the question. It's a very pertinent question, I would say, and obviously the answer to this is yes, because in anything that we do, evolution is a very important thing. We need to keep on evolving, because whenever we get stuck, probably we are lagging behind the benchmark that has to be set. So a psychiatry teacher's role has seen a lot of evaluation in the recent past, and it will keep on evolving. To just justify this, I would give you a very small example, and it's a very personal example that I'm giving. When I had enrolled for STEPS, it was nobody actually did introduce me in that sort, but I was curious. I opted to apply for this, and once I applied, I understood that beyond the usual subdomains of addiction, geriatric, child, and various others that are very popular, there exists a field of medical education where you can invest your efforts and which can be ably rewarded, as was also highlighted in the editors panel yesterday. So these kind of programs give you a chance to make a name for yourself and make a niche for yourself where you can keep on working and developing.
Okay, Dr. Jyotsna, Dr. Gopal, Akshita, anyone?
In addition to the typical classes which usually basic medical education or even STEPS had, which addresses these core areas of how to conduct a small group teaching or large group teaching or assessment methods, we also had a few customized sessions of our own liking. So that actually helped us in addressing few of these advancing roles of a psychiatrist, like leadership class with Dr. Pratima Murthy, or we had psychotherapy, how to conduct psychotherapy class from I think from the HOD of AIMS, Delhi, and I think a few of these classes were actually quite helpful in addressing these roles, advancing roles of a psychiatrist.
I would like to add one small. What we always talk about psychiatry as a subject teaching, beyond psychiatry as a subject, psychiatry teacher is expected to take upon many roles. Like one thing what I can relate is ATCOM, where many people in many colleges I feel they are naturally taken as a kind of option, and there are many other areas like in foundation course they might be leading on stress management and so many other related, communication related, interpersonal relation. There is a large domain where we can step in, and definitely it needs a lot of knowledge and skills in medical education and teaching. This is where the role, what I can see, even in mentoring nowadays, mentoring is another aspect where psychiatrists can pitch in, psychiatry teachers can pitch in, and it is ever expanding, where only psychiatry teaching may not be really that is enough. We need to get ourselves into many other roles like this.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I concur with Jyotsna. When we designed STEPS program, we thought that let it's not only the facilitator who will decide everything. Let us make it much more structured or semi-structured, and let it be open. So the last two sessions was for the student to take up any of their choices, and we selected the best faculty available for that outcome and try to see if it can be matched, and it was possible because it was an online session, and gracious enough people like uh, uh, people like Dr. B.N. Gangadhar, Madam, everybody agreed for this. So that was wonderful, and a lot of students were benefited because of that. One more question before we go on to the actual presentation by Akshata. We already have a lot of enrichment programs. In fact, NMC itself has mandated few programs of basic courses. We have international programs like FAMER. A few of our faculty have conducted it. So when we have so many such enrichment programs, what do you think is the need for a program like STEPS? Because you people have been gone through the mill. So I just want you to reflect upon why STEPS is required when you have other programs as well, including I think TIPS was also spoken about now, just in the previous session. So we have TIPS, we have BCME, ACME, we have international programs like FAMER. So where does STEPS stand, so that if somebody is interested in the forum, or they can pass on to the message for somebody in their department as well? Anybody can take up the question.
Thank you, sir. I'll try to reply to that. And I had undergone the revised basic core workshop before I had enrolled for STEPS. So that was the benchmark that I could relate to. Most of those programs are generic in their nature, and even like a MCI design, erstwhile MCI designed course, the focus always remains on the major subject. So the examples that are always brought up are, and the issues that are discussed are towards the major subjects. And psychiatry being not considered to be one of those subjects, as a psychiatrist, the issues that we were facing often came up and they remain unresolved. They were discussed, the problems were identified, but the solutions could not be found on those platforms. STEPS, on the other hand, provided me with that platform. So, like a very simple question of how to keep students interested towards psychiatry without having an assessment method, a proper summative assessment method, remains a perpetual question to a person who has been working under NMC ambit. And STEPS gave me possible solutions. The solutions are always need to be designed by the individual for that institute where he or she is working. But then STEPS gave me of the possible avenues that I can explore. So that was very customized, psychiatry specific program, what STEPS is.
So it was individualized, customized. That was something unique of the program. Anybody else?
So I think I was from the third batch of ITOP STEPS, and it adapted to a hybrid mode, which had around 2 days of offline course where we all scholars came with our own uncertainty bowls, but eventually we had a wonderful ice-breaking session, and we went through rigorous presentations for those 2 days. The group learning process was unique, and we were evaluated in a 360 degree where we had all these peer facilitators, mentors all around, and we could also see and observe from them. So the most of the things were demonstrated first, and then we were asked to adapt to it. So, and then it overall helped us in pursuing the online course for the next 5 or 6 months. So I think, and the customized sessions liberty which we had. So all of that was unique with STEPS course.
You are the lucky batch, probably post-COVID, who had an hybrid mode, and that was definitely helpful. But for Dr. Gopal Das, it was absolutely online. So that's how his previous presentation has shaped up, I think. So what do you think, Gopal, about STEPS as a program, unique compared to other enrichment programs?
Honestly speaking, before I enrolled, I was totally clueless of what it is. I was just exposed, as Dr. Argya told. I had just finished my CBME, I mean, sorry, basic course of medical education. I was just aware of all those complicated terminologies, which was very new for them. And it happened so well that we have, the COVID hit, and we are opening up to a lot of online methodologies. And it came to us like nothing different. We were supposed to be online, and the whole 20 sessions went in smoothly, and later only we realized, okay, these online sessions can be exploited in such a nice manner, and we could actually pull out one whole program like steps of 20 intense weeks. And to to be frank, I have not met my peers till now. It is like 4 years by now, 3.5 years. I have not met them. There are pros and cons in online only mode, but the amount of interaction and the camaraderie that we develop, regardless of whether it is online or offline, when there are motivated lot of people are put into a setting, definitely the program definitely comes out well. I would like to hear the other opinions where there were hybrid mode of methods where they could actually meet and get along well. I still bond very well with my peers, regardless of if I haven't met them. It is still nice to when I talk to them. That whole network and the bond builds up between these kind of things. And we all speak very openly when it is about ITOP. That is what it has resulted in.
Yes, I think the key word there was motivated lot. So probably these sessions motivate a lot of people who are on the crossroads. So I think Akshata, I will not ask you a question, but since you have a presentation. Yeah, you want to? Yeah.
I got to know about this program only after getting into a study to assess feedback from the participants. So I feel there is definitely need to spread the awareness about this training program. Also in many institutions, especially where the patient load is more, maybe due to lack of resources, lack of time, there is less emphasis on teaching training. So definitely there is need for more such programs and also to spread the awareness among the young psychiatrists.
Yes, definitely. So there's a definitive need. It's an unmet need. That's what most of the studies have said. And that's where we started the program. I think we are running short. I request Dr. Akshata to kindly present her experience of the STEPS scholarship program.
I was not part of this training program. I'll be just briefing about the ITOP STEPS program. Also, I'll be briefing about a study to assess the feedback of the participants. Speakers and the moderators have discussed the need for enrichment programs. I'll just focus on a few aspects. One is we all know the disease burden. There is increasing mental health issues globally. Also, the number of medical students graduating and taking psychiatry specialization is also increasing. Currently, around 1 lakh doctors are getting graduated. Also, around 1,000 are getting psychiatry specialization. As of now, there are around 6,000 psychiatry teachers. One more thing is implementation of CBME curriculum. With all these background, there is definitely need for more skillful teachers in psychiatry, not just in psychiatry, in all the subjects. Moving on, what is ITOP STEPS? It's a scholarship cum training program for psychiatry teachers. It's initiated by Indian Teachers of Psychiatry Forum. It's launched in the year 2020 on World Mental Health Day, that's October 10th. It is initiated in association with Minds United for Health Sciences and Humanity Trust, and also Public Charitable Trust at Mysore. This is being funded by Infosys Foundation, Bengaluru. The objective is to enhance teaching competency among psychiatry teachers across the nation. It started in the year 2020. As of now, 4 batches have taken up the training program. The current batch is going on. It's a 20-session program. Initially it was online, later it was hybrid mode. It also has the opportunity to avail scholarship of 10,000 rupees at the end of the finishing training program. How to apply? As I said, many of us are not aware about this. There will be call for this training program annually through various social platforms like Indian Psychiatric Society groups and other relevant groups. It is 2-step process. In first step, there will be call for applications. Applicants has to submit the application form along with motivation letter why they want to involve in that training program. Also, they have to submit a sample teaching video. This will be scrutinized by a panel of 6 experts, which includes psychiatry experts. One will be outside the psychiatry, who is expert in medical education. Eventually, all these candidates will be interviewed, and later it will be selected. The principle of this program is peer-to-peer learning and peer-assisted learning. They have included topics like psychiatry education, then timeliness, newer teaching technologies, then bedside technologies, and various such topics. 20 topics are taken up for this training program, out of which 16 are fixed and 4 are optional. The candidates can choose according to their interest. Now, any program needs evaluation. So we conducted a study to assess the opinion of the participants about this training program benefits in their teaching profession. It was a Google survey. We framed structured questionnaires, and then it was circulated through various social media platforms to all the participants. We have included first 3 batches. There were 12 participants, and most questions were open-ended questions, and some were Likert scale scoring questions. There is good response regarding relevance of topics, quality of resource persons, timeliness of sessions, interaction during the session, clarifying the doubts, and online platform chosen. They have given 4 to 5 scores for all the aspects, which reflects the quality of the training program. We also asked certain open-ended questions. Most participants opined that there was definitely a significant improvement in their teaching, like better planning, incorporating different and newer teaching methods, focusing on organization, understanding students' needs, abilities, limitations, keeping teaching interactive, inclusion of CBME objectives. They also opined that they have learned newer presentation skills, and also like flipped classroom and other innovation in assessments. We also had a question on any difficulties and challenges during implementing the skills learned during the training program. 5 of the participants answered that they have not faced any difficulties. Others have reported that the challenges they faced were lack of resources and time constraint. Flipped classroom, problem-based learning, role plays, enhancing interaction in large groups, storytelling, movie analysis, reflective writing, case-based learning, self-directed learning, video-assisted learning. These are the different novel teaching strategies participants have opined that they have learned in the training program. Most of the participants reported that they are yet to assess the effectiveness of this training program, that is their teaching among the students. However, they are looking forward. They also suggested to include certain topics like time management, advocacy and policy planning for mental health issues, primary care psychiatry, planning and implementing electives, using artificial intelligence in teaching and learning, research expertise and manuscript writing skills to be added in further batches. To conclude, this study reflects the effectiveness of ITOP STEPS training program among the attended psychiatrists. There is significant perceived improvement. It is just to assess their subjective opinion. It needs to be evaluated periodically and over long term. We also need to consider students' performance and their opinion about the teaching of the participants. Those were the limitations. I'll hand over to next speakers. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Akshita.
So I think there were 4 questions. We have time, right?
Yeah, 1 minute. 1 or 2
I
minutes.
think we have 1 or 2 minutes. So I just wanted to ask the group, is there anything they think that can be done specifically in this enrichment program to balance clinical expertise with innovative teaching methods? For all of you who have gone through the balancing?
I'll start with that. The clinical expertise is nothing very, very different from teaching. We all were taught, like you teach and learn initially. How effectively we teach, it will invariably get translated into our clinical expertise. All we have to do is just see into that particular area, teach consciously, teach with a little awareness. That is what I would suggest. If you do that, your clinical expertise obviously will definitely enhance, because you are going to teach your younger counterparts or your peers. You will definitely be careful when you are teaching. This is what is my opinion. If anyone else can add, there is nothing really that needs to be very much structured and done specifically in bringing up clinical expertise. It is all been covered in the very specific model of bedside teaching in that ITOP that I can recall, where there are a lot of skills that we actually don't know. We routinely teach bedside, but when we actually go through this program, a lot more innovative methods where we don't even know that these kind of things exist. So that's what increases our clinical expertise as well, is my opinion. You can add.
One example pertaining to this question is that once we received our scholarship, we graduated to become a peer educator. So for the next years, we became peer educators for the next batch. What it basically meant and how beautifully this has been designed is that we got a refresher course the next year. So that helped us brush up about whatever was taught. So, and this is supposed to be a yearly sequence, and we remain a peer educator throughout, and we have that chance to brush up of all our skills as they are taught to the next batch. So that helps.
Yeah, and pertaining to this question, as far as I remember, out of the all 20 sessions, I think except 1 or 2, all of them focus the teaching learning methodology and assessment strategies and probably induction methods, or how to address a large group or a small group, or UG teaching, PG teaching. So it was all about the teaching related expertise rather than the subject or the clinical related expertise.
Anything else?
Okay, we'll just take one more question by Rachna. What could be an innovative way for a psychiatry educator to encourage UG students to pursue psychiatry as a specialty? Anybody would like to answer that? You want more psychiatrists?
I think that is better answered by audience rather than panel. But I would just like to say, I can relate to Dr. Vikas Menon also. Anything but the lectures. You can do anything inside classroom, outside classroom. Now that we don't have exams for them, the summative so-called assessment, they're not under stress. You can take that liberty of going out of your way to make them learn, not just in the classrooms is what I can say. There are many ways like movie clubs and whatever role plays, and you can teach psychiatry in actually where the classes is not for psychiatry. Like you can teach psychiatry in ATCOM, you can teach psychiatry in many other interactions, you can call them. But the main problem what I have faced is I cannot teach it for all 150 students equally. Some of them are interested, some of them are not interested. This is again always been a challenge for me. Not all 150 or 250, whatever it is, I cannot engage all of them. I need people's opinion. Now how to engage them equally, equitable, I really don't know.
More psychiatrists, more faculty, probably in future.
It has become less now.
Okay, so
Yes,
I
Lakshmi.
think with that we'll wrap up. This has been a very useful session to clearly state what steps has been doing and how it's important all medical institutions to look at this program. Dr. K.
I think we have the best question which we discussed. Is there anything done specifically in this enrichment programs to balance clinical expertise with
Anonymous.
anonymous? Okay,
Yes.
madam. Now we know who is the anonymous.
Please come.
Thank you. I kindly request Dr. Vijay Raman to felicitate the chairpersons and speakers.
Dr. Kiran Kumar, Dr. Priya Sridharan, Dr. Akshata, Dr. Jyotsna Jain, Dr. Gopal Das, Dr. Agyapal. Thank you.